For more than 5 decades, America watched her smile. She sang in glittering gowns, harmonized under bright studio lights, and performed before sold-out crowds who believed they knew her. To millions, she represented sweetness, grace, and polished perfection. But perfection can become a cage. Marie Osmond did not choose the spotlight, chose her. Born Olive Marie Osmond on October 13, 1959, in Ogden, Utah, she entered a family where music was not optional and performance was part of daily life. Her brothers were already building what would become a global entertainment dynasty. Their father managed the household with discipline and ambition. Rehearsals were long. Standards were high. Mistakes were not encouraged, they were corrected. At 3 years old, Marie was already performing. Before she could understand fame, she was living inside it. As the only girl among 9 siblings in a devout Latter-day Saint household, she carried dual expectations: to embody purity and grace at home, and to project charisma and charm on stage. Childhood blurred into choreography. At 13, she recorded Paper Roses. The song became a #1 country hit and crossed over to pop charts, instantly transforming her from little sister to solo star. While other teenagers navigated school dances and awkward crushes, Marie navigated contracts, press tours, and adult scrutiny. Her adolescence unfolded under studio lights. In 1976, she and her brother launched Donnie and Marie on ABC. The show became a Friday night staple. Their chemistry felt effortless. Viewers adored the wholesome sibling banter and elaborate musical numbers. Dolls bore her likeness. Lunchboxes carried her image. She was a national sweetheart before she was old enough to legally vote. Behind the scenes, exhaustion mounted. 6-day workweeks left little room for privacy or rest. Producers scrutinized her appearance. Tabloids speculated about her weight. She learned quickly that in show business, talent was admired, but thinness was demanded. Smiling became survival. When the variety show ended in 1979, she was only 20 years old. She had already spent nearly 2 decades performing. The applause was loud. The cost was invisible. Marriage came next. In 1982, she wed Stephen Craig in what seemed like a fairy tale ceremony. The union lasted 3 years. Divorce, particularly within her religious community, felt like personal and spiritual failure. She remarried in 1986 to Brian Blosel. Together they built a large family, 2 biological children and 5 adopted. Outwardly, it looked like redemption and stability. Inwardly, the pressure intensified. She balanced recordings, television appearances, business ventures, and motherhood. Her porcelain doll company generated millions in revenue and turned her into a savvy entrepreneur. Yet success demanded relentless motion. There was always another show, another product line, another obligation. In 1999, after the birth of her son Matthew, she experienced severe postpartum depression. The darkness was unfamiliar and terrifying. She described feeling disconnected from her baby and overwhelmed by guilt for not feeling joy. Thoughts of wanting the pain to end crept in. Eventually, therapy and medical treatment helped her recover, but the experience reshaped her understanding of mental health. In 2001, she released a memoir detailing her struggle. Some criticized her candor. Others quietly thanked her. For many mothers battling similar feelings, her honesty provided validation. Her relationship with her body remained complicated. From teenage years onward, weight fluctuations were publicly dissected. Diet programs, endorsements, and dramatic transformations became headlines. Each cycle brought praise, then criticism. Over time, she began reframing the conversation, not about achieving perfection, but about reclaiming self-worth beyond a number on a scale. Then came February 26, 2010. Her son Michael, who had struggled with depression, died by suicide at 25. The loss altered everything. Grief does not move in straight lines. It arrives in waves. Unexpected, overwhelming, relentless. She returned to performing weeks later, not out of indifference, but because routine offered structure in chaos. She began speaking openly about mental health and suicide prevention, partnering with organizations like the National Alliance on Mental Illness and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. She refused to hide the cause of Michael's death behind euphemisms. Silence, she believed, helped no one. Romantic stability remained elusive. Over the years, she married and divorced multiple times, including remarrying her first husband decades after their initial split. Each attempt carried hope. Each ending required resilience. Public life magnified private disappointment. In 2008, she and her brother began a long-running Las Vegas residency at the Flamingo Hotel. For 11 years, they performed 6 nights a week. The shows were energetic and nostalgic, beloved by fans. Behind the curtain, chronic pain grew. Knees, back, and voice bore the strain of decades on stage. She pushed through injuries, equating rest with weakness, until her body forced her to slow down. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 ended the residency and imposed stillness. For the first time in decades, there was no tour schedule dictating her days. Silence felt unfamiliar. Gradually, it became instructive. She began therapy focused not on crisis management, but on self-understanding. She learned to sit with grief rather than outrun it. At 65, Marie Osmond is no longer chasing the version of herself America first met. The hair may show strands of gray. The pace is gentler. Performances are chosen, not obligatory. She divides her time between Utah and family visits, embracing her role as grandmother with fierce tenderness. Her advocacy work continues. She speaks about maternal mental health, depression, and the importance of seeking help. She emphasizes that asking for support is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of courage. The empire she built, records, television, collectibles, residencies, remains part of her legacy. But perhaps her deeper legacy lies elsewhere, in the willingness to reveal imperfection. She has learned that perfection is exhausting, that love cannot be forced to last, that grief never fully disappears but can coexist with gratitude, that a body deserves care, not punishment, that survival, repeated daily, is a form of triumph. Marie Osmond is still standing, not because her life was flawless, but because she continued after every fracture. She rose from a childhood defined by performance into a woman defined by perseverance. Her story is not about spotless success. It is about endurance, about learning that strength does not mean never breaking. It means breaking and choosing to rise anyway. And at 65, she rises more gently now, but with a steadiness she did not have at 13. The smile is still there. Only now it belongs to her,